Hi, I'm Richie Mackay.
And I'm David Bolt, and you are listening to the Wrong Bias podcast.
And on today's show, we catch up on the return to outdoor bowls. Jason Parkinson drops in to talk about the Manchester Open. Are the alarm bells ringing for the future of the sport in the Commonwealth Games? We discuss the new formats. There's our usual competition, sponsored by Bowls is Bowls and Lean to Succeed, and we have a little shaggy dog story not to be missed. Right, mate, here we are again, show number 32. May the 7th since our last show, mate. Been a bit of a spell.
It is, and I've raced back up the M62 and the M1 just to be with you tonight as well, just to talk about
what are you? Things. You do spoil me, sir. You do spoil me. There's been plenty happening in the old bowls, mate. Been good to get back on the green.
Playing a lot of competitions and league games have kicked back in again, and it's nice to see. And then just as I mentioned there, we'll talk about a little bit more about it later on. But I've just got back from Manchester, the Manchester Open, so that's gone with great success today. I think that was the fourth qualifying weekend I've been playing in today, and done fantastically well to snatch defeat from the jaws of it.
A quick mention of the Bowls England big weekend, mate. Everything seemed to be positive from around the country. All the good photos coming back.
Yeah, there's some nice photos, and I think they fell very lucky with the weather as well. The weather was absolutely beautiful.
Good weekend, yeah.
Yeah, I visited 2 or 3 of the clubs, I think, in the local area, and all 3 had a really successful day, which was great to see. And I know Sunderland, spoke to Dennis at Sunderland, he'd had a good day as well. So certainly from what I saw with the clubs I've been working with, they were very happy with the turnout, so to speak.
I think what they've got to take on board is they're not going to see an immediate increase because they're not going to get people to sign up there and then on the day, are they, really? They might be disappointed that they haven't had a repeat people coming back, but it's not a short-term fix. It's a long-term goal that they're aiming for.
It is, and I think there's, talking to a few of the organisers of the clubs, they have had sign-ups. You're not going to get everybody who attends to go and sign up your membership or anything like that. So you're spot on, Richie. I think the key thing from all of this is it's just getting the clubs out there and making people aware that this is a family sport. And I think certainly where I was, they had the targets out, and there was loads of families turning up. Even things like families sitting around the green and having picnics. Yeah. I just think they take that away, and hopefully they'll turn around to other people and say, you know what it is? Went down the bowling green the other day. What a lovely afternoon we've had. We've had a sit in the grass. We've had a picnic. We've had the bands. There's target bowls on, and just starting to speak about the sport completely different to what it's been over the years. Yeah. Oh, you kind of go on a bowling green. You don't want to go anywhere near there. So I think that's the positives to come out of it.
Yeah, without a doubt, mate. And we've also made our little first inroads into live streaming as well, mate. I don't know whether people have seen it.
It's like everything we said from day one, didn't we? It's going to take a little bit of time to master and get on top of the camera positions. And we've had a few little technical glitches with the Wi-Fi because unfortunately we ain't got a great deal of control over where there's a dead spot around the green. But in the main, I think, we've had some really nice comments. And you know what it is, worst case scenario, if there's a big audience of people out there who just want to watch some bowls. And hopefully, between the two of us, as the season progresses, we'll start to get the latter stages of competitions. And I think those are the ones that people will really be keen to see what happens, because qualification for Leamington and we've got our trip down the M62 ourselves, mate. And again, we'll talk
coming
about
forward, yes, which we'll probably mention a little bit later. Hopefully around the country somebody will have a look at it and say, well, we'll try that as well down here. We'll try that and have a go at it. It can be done, folks. If it's there, it can be done. You just need to have the push and the get up and go to do it, really. Another piece of good news for up here, Bowls Club Story of the Year for Darlington South Park, mate, Mr. Morland.
Excellent, yeah. And I think, between us, I think we, you never know what's happening across the country, but there's one thing for certain. I think a lot of people know about Darlington South Park Bowling Club now because of the...
It definitely does, yeah.
Because of the media drive that Scott's done. Yeah. And for me, everybody looking out there and thinking, why have they done this, then there is no better example of a club out there who have really got to grips with the new world and realised that if you get your name of your club out there and you tell people what you do, it's amazing how many people pick the phone up and drop you an email and ask to come along. And that's exactly what he's done. Nothing out of the world. He is just literally, you will not see a day where Darlington South Park is not on social media.
Don't have a post, that's right. Yeah, he's like the Jehovah's Witness of balls.
I think so. Somebody said that, didn't they? That says, crikey, it's like you just hide behind the curtains whenever you see Scott coming towards you.
It is. I'm frightened to open Facebook up at the minute.
But hey, what a fantastic job. We've had Scott on the show, and those who have listened to it completely and utterly take me hat off to him. I think, the job he's doing is fantastic. And he's, I think, what was it, 110, 115 members, I think he's now got at the club. Phenomenal. Like.
Just a quick volley, because I'm getting a bit sick of these people who were complaining about these new formats for the competitions. End of the day, folks, the situation that we're in with COVID and what have you, Bowls, to get the competitions underway with Bowls England, they've done fantastic. Just look over the border. They've got no national competitions. Go with the format for this year. Next year it might be different. It might not be. But just grin and bear it, will you? Anything's better than nothing. That's my outlook.
We've got Bowls, man, and it's that ugly word change again. 2 years' time, nobody will even bat an eyelid about it.
Yeah.
People, those who are going to enter and continue to play will settle down, accept them for what they are. It ain't going to change. We know it's going to be the same after this season as well, so we might as well get used to it. And I think we've noticed it quite a bit doing the live streaming, haven't we? It's there is a massive difference. And it is a bit of a culture shock, because once upon a time when you'd look and you're 6 down in the game with 3 ends to play and you think, well, we've got plenty of balls left on us here. But then you start to look at the scoreboard and think, if I miss for 4 or 5 of these balls out of my last 3 ends, we ain't getting back into this game. So I actually think it puts a different emphasis on, and it makes you have to play every single ball and concentrate on everything you do. So further down the line, I enjoy it. I think it's nice to be able to get on the green and get off in a timely manner, to be fair.
Well, I know we're going to have a discussion about the new formats later on in the show, just to give our view from a playing point of view and a spectator point of view with us doing the live streaming. And now we catch up with the friend of the show, Jason Parkinson.
Right then, mate. So we were talking earlier on about the Manchester Open. I've just raced back up the M62 and A1 to get back home to do this. So we thought, what better man to get onto the show than Mr. Parkinson himself, the number one, the organizer, the cleaner of the pots, the cooker of the dinners, etc., etc. So welcome to the show yet again, Mr. Parkinson. You're becoming a bit of a regular on here now.
Oh, no, it's an absolute pleasure. Thanks very much for asking us on. And it was great to see you today. Really good. You look a little bit more redder than you were at 9:30 this morning.
I am certainly feeling a little bit redder, Jason. I can tell when I blink. It's like closing 2 cornflakes at the moment. It's not the most comfortable. But no, I said earlier on, Jason, I'll let you have a talk about obviously the qualification process that's gone over the last couple of weekends, isn't it? But the event I was at today, fantastically well-run event, great music on, lovely weather, people walking by and watching through the fence and seeing what was going on. So I'll let you take the stand and just let everybody know how it's been going. Yeah,
well, firstly, what I wanted to do was, obviously, it was with everything changing this year due to, different formats, games being shortened, for various reasons. You can find pros and cons to anything in bowls, can't you? And I thought, well, with Scotland just not running anything this year at all, due to the COVID, I just thought, well, this might be a time just to try something different. So I thought, well, the Bowls Lancashire Super League that we run goes really, really well. How about if I try and kind of maximise on that in regards to the format, the style of play, the music, like you mentioned, and invite people from all over the UK. Have an open event, 3 bowl pairs, sets format, round robin, because people have been travelling. Some of the people have been travelling, as far as Aberdeen, even slightly higher than Aberdeen. We've had people from, junior internationals from Norfolk, people from Kent, loads of Scottish players because they've not a lot to play for. And I thought, well, let's just take a chance at this, put it out there. This is what we're playing for, £2,000. And I filled it within 2 weeks. I couldn't believe it at all. And I thought, absolutely fantastic. We had a few dropouts here, there and everywhere, but, we had plenty of people wanting to step in and take the place. And each group, like you said, we've had 4 qualifying events, all kind of like working towards this grand final. 12 groups where the group winners qualify automatically. And then obviously, because we needed a last 16, I did like 4 wild card places. And they were available for people that didn't win their group but scored high enough to qualify for one of these 4 places. And I've only just been in half an hour myself, to be honest with you, from getting everything sorted. And as we stand, the last 16 is bang on 8 Scottish teams, 8 English teams. Group winner-wise, we've got 7 Scottish and 5 English, and then the wild cards are 3-1 for England. And I think that's quite a fair reflection, to be honest, because the players we've been attracting, junior internationals, senior internationals, ex-senior internationals for both England and Scotland, yourself, Commonwealth Games players for England and Scotland, people that have played on TV. Graham McDougall played yesterday with Carswell, and it just shows you that people are wanting to play in something different. The money always helps, David, doesn't it? I won't lie. The prize always helps, especially when people are travelling. But it's for that something different. Let's see what else we can do. Not just what I've ran, but, as a collective, let's just see what we can do just to shape the game up and make it more interesting, a bit more exciting. If you're going to travel, fair enough. Let's travel and play numerous amount of games at the same time and play for a bit of money.
Is it sponsored, Jason, or not?
Yeah, we have. So it's I have a few sponsors. So some of the events that I've run this year, obviously we've got the Manchester Open, the Super League that I've already spoken about, and the Bolton Open, which is being resurrected in April. I have a collective, let's say, a few people around that support me massively because they must seem to have faith in what I do or see what I do and like what I do. And they put, £500, £1,000 here, there and everywhere. There's obviously the prize money as well that comes from the entry fees. But what I do is, to be fair, like the Manchester Open's played at my home club, but I donated £300 towards the green fee straight away, out of my own money, if you wish, just to support the club from the start, because that's the most important thing at the moment. Clubs are struggling. Indoor clubs are definitely struggling. But that's what it is. It's a collective of people. There's no businesses at the moment I've jumped aboard and said, yeah, we'll give you money here. Because I've approached about 3 or 4 businesses, local ones, and it was kind of like the same reply, but it was the expected reply. Due to COVID, we can't really commit at the moment. And that's fair play. That really, really is fair play. But I just thought, let me just be cheeky, knock on the door and just see what's coming on board like. But, it's £2,000 at the end of the day, £1,000 for the winning pair. Same in the Super League, and same in the Bolton Open. It's not to be sniffed at, really. There's not many, without sounding horrible, there's not many national titles you can win that kind of money. I
mean, there's a lot of sort of like smaller tournaments. Dave, you'll know yourself. You see the adverts, 150 quid first prize money and all that. Do you think there's just a lack of ambition, or are people happy just to pay a £5 entry into it? And
yeah, I think first of all, when you plan an event, you need to think what your target audience is. Are you planning for a local event for local people? Your local county players, club players, just slightly above the social bowler? Or do you want to go out there and think, I'm going to push my luck here? Like when I first put it was run as an individual event, this Manchester Open, but I still sought permission from the county, if you wish. And then I obtained a Bowls England licence. And when I floated the idea of £20 each, people were like, people won't pay £20 each. People won't pay £20 each. People will pay £20 each. If they know they're going to get a good competition that's well run, a bit of prize money at the end, and playing against some top class players, the field we've had has just been absolutely superb. The Scottish boys have come down and they've just shown what a fantastic country Scotland is for bowlers. They've just been absolutely amazing. And they like the drink as well. So being in Manchester, that really, really helps. But they've just been fantastic. They really have.
That was, to be fair, that was me sort of thinking the day, Jason. That's why we decided to lose that last game, because I knew you'd had players travel down from Scotland. And it would have been awful for them to travel all that distance for them to not qualify. So I had a chat with Gary and I said, let's play the game. These Scottish boys is worthy of a place. So that's why we let them win. But I think you're right. Joking aside, I think there's two sort of markets now in as far as competitions is concerned. There are people out there that will travel 2, 3, 4 hours if they feel there is justification in the fact of we could walk away from this and cover our expenses and walk away with maybe £400-500 in your back pocket, which could be the equivalent of a week and a half, 2 weeks wages for some people. And then you've got the other market of people who just love to just turn up at a competition, pay £6 entry, and are happy to walk away with £20 each at the end of the 6-7 games that they've played on the day. So slog the backsides out, and then you open the envelope up and there's £20 each in there, and you go, well, yeah, it's been a nice day. But it's like, I think we've lost so many people because I think I've mentioned this before. There's certain competitions that are kicking around now, still paying the same money as what they were 25 years ago, and things are a damn sight more expensive now than what they were then. So I think clubs have got to really look at, once you take your diesel out of it, once you take your, if you bring your partner down or you bring your family down, then you've got your meals on top of that, then you buy some drinks. People will probably not enter if they're going to be walking away and out of pocket at the end of the day, and that's what you've got to really think about. But I think you've got the level right. £20 each is, it's about the right level for playing for that type of money. Who would complain about paying £20 and making £480 individually each if you were to win the competition? I think it's always open for debate, and you'll always hear people say, oh, they'll not pay that. But as you've proved, there is a lot of people out there who will. And I still think you could actually push that boundary a little bit higher. I still think people would be prepared to pay £50 entry each for a bigger prize fund.
The first year you think, don't try and be too clever here. Let's just... There's always those people behind the scenes wanting things to fail. And I just thought, well, let's get it full. Let's try and attract, a decent crowd, and let's build on that. The only kind of not let down, but slight disappointment for me as the organizer is the green. It wasn't marvellous at the moment, but it's not been played on for the best part of 2 years. The speed, like you'd probably agree, the speed was good. There's a few, there's probably 3 decent rinks, 3 tricky rinks, let's just say. But that's out of my control. We're working towards that. We've got a new greensman at the moment who are fully on board with that. But, you just think for something that starts, I think, I just hope that isn't a deterrent for people to build on that. Do you know what I mean? People have come down. The only kind of feedback I've had is about the green, and that's fine by me. That's perfectly fine because I am, I have a team behind us at Eaton Hall that I'll, really, really working towards that. But yeah, I would definitely love to build on that, for next year.
There'll be more from JP later in the show. Right, folks, Birmingham 2022 coming up, the Commonwealth Games. My eyes was drawn to a report on the Inside the Games website, and it was an interview with Dame Louise Martin, the president of the Commonwealth Games Federation. Now, it might just be me being alarmist, but my ears pricked up with a few of her quotes. And here we go. We cannot stay as we are, as it's not sustainable. We have to move on. We have to modernise. In my opinion, Birmingham will be the last one of its size. In future, it will be more in keeping with what the country going to want. Plan is for the games to be smaller, easier, and less costly to host, and to change them in a way that will appeal to a younger audience. We have to keep reviewing our sports. We have to stay relevant to where we are at the time. It's no good to sit back and say we've always done it this way. Now, bowls has been one of the crown jewels since it started back in 1930. It only missed out in 1966, the Jamaica Games in Kingston, and that was because there weren't enough greens in Kingston, Jamaica. So 2 sports actually fell by the wayside, which were bowls and rowing. Now, I can't understand rowing because there's plenty of water in Jamaica, I would have thought. It was the first actual change in the Commonwealth Games since 1950. Bowls did get back the following year. But the image of our sport, mate, it's just, do we need to be concerned that bowls could be one of them sports that's not looked upon in a favourable light?
I must admit, Richie, I saw the report myself, and I must admit it certainly pricked my ears up as well, because, the Commonwealth Games in our sport is what I would class as the pinnacle, regardless of indoor, outdoor, short mat, whatever format that might be. I would say the Commonwealth Games is the top of the tree as far as that's concerned. So if it was to come out going to be a huge culture shock for the sport.
It would, but I think people higher up in our sport, like the world bowls, need to look at these reports and say, hello there, hello. I mean, we kind of get in the Olympics, and as you say, the crown jewel that we've got within our sport is the Commonwealth Games. The sports in that Commonwealth Games, that must be sort of like quaking, and I think bowls has got to be one of them.
Yeah, and I don't think, I think there'll be a lot of sports on that basis will be potentially thinking the same. It's a really tough one because obviously until you get some sort of hard fact, I can understand it, if I'm honest, because the bill to host it is astronomical, which for me is why it's probably bounced from southern hemisphere. I mean, I think it's been, it was Manchester 96, wasn't it? Then it's been, we're in obviously Birmingham,
Glasgow at 14,
Glasgow, and then
of course you were in the Gold Coast, which really bankrupted the place when you went down.
When you look at some of the reports for the Birmingham Commonwealth Games, you hear bits and pieces, but there's been projects that have been not gone ahead because the expense of building a athletes village was going to be astronomical, and so it's a really, really tough one, and I hope it isn't the case. I really, really do, because I think it's a great way to actually showcase our sport, and for us next year we should be jumping all over, and I'm sure we will be as a sport, jumping all over the promotion, the whole event itself, and I would love to see, and I would expect to see in some respects, the stands absolutely packed out down there for when the bowls is on.
There's one thing regarding the packing the stands out. The ticket prices are announced, and it's £8 for kids and it's £15 to £22 for adults. Now, at the Commonwealth Games, never heard of a kid for a quid.
Yeah, I know.
I know it's £8 all day. You're in. Well, I think it's £8 a session. I'm not sure, because there's 2 sessions per day, and it runs from about 8:30 to about 1:45, and then something like 3:30 to about 8:30 or something like that.
Yeah. It's not that's not true. We talk about the actual expense of hosting it, but it's not cheap for those people wanting to attend it as well. So it's like I say, if they're going to be looking at it, then it's certainly a case of watch this space from our point of view. All we can hope is that bowls isn't affected by it, but then what you said is perfectly right. Our world bowls are aware of it. Do they know what the score is, and what are they doing to counteract it? Got to grit our teeth and just hope that our sport isn't affected with it.
Yeah, I agree. Right, mate, that theme tune again is the old Dickie Davis World of Sport. I'm going to throw 3 random subjects out at us, and there's a little bit offbeat sport to finish off with. Right, first one, Euros started, mate. Prediction, I know it's already been underway for about 10 days, so pick your winner. I'm going for Italy.
I bet you do, eh?
Never lost in 10 years.
You just asked the question and jumped straight in with the answer there.
Too right. You go for England. Go on,
like taking advantage. Going to basically say that I definitely think we'll get to the latter stages.
England will definitely get to the latter stages.
I do. I still think everybody's going to tear us apart for this one, but I don't care. He's doing the job he needs to do to get through these qualifiers.
Right.
And I've just got this. It's that old lion heart, English rubbish that we all follow all the time. But I just think something's going to click like it did in the Worlds.
You heard it first here. David Walsh nominated England to win the Euros, and I'm putting it down to the sun at the Manchester Open today. Too much sun, not enough sun cream. My head does look like a roadworks code at the minute, almost. Right, next one, mate. Caution over the use of social media tweets as they come back to bite. Now, England's Ollie Robinson cricket, proudest day in cricket, making his debut for England. Tweets from 2012 have come back and led to an international cricketing ban, albeit short term. Social media use, mate. Got to be careful.
You have talked about it a heck of a lot before, but I think, as we always tend to do in this country, we've used this poor lad as a bit of a scapegoat. He said sorry. It's off. It's not off yesterday. It's not off last week. It's not off last month. It's off years ago.
2012.
We've all done stupid things. We've all said things we're not supposed to say, and the new PC world that we all live in, you cannot say boo to a goose, because as I read the other day, a woman walking into her barber's and complaining because he only does men's haircuts. And it's like, it's just getting ridiculous. And, yes, at this time now, we have got to basically be extremely, extremely careful what we do. To punish a lad for 9 years ago, 2012, the way they've punished him, I think, is disgusting, personally.
Yeah.
He's a top-class sportsman. Get him out there, put him on Sky Sports News, let the world see I was a daft idiot back then, 2012. So sorry. I've caused offence. I'm really, really sorry. More than happy to make a donation of my wage to the charity of whatever it is. That should be it done with. But as is always the case in this country and probably across the world now, they drag it to the nth degree to get that poor lad to a point of where he's out of the England team, which is just awful for me. I just think it's...
And congratulations go to 24-year-old Alice Deeren. I'll tell you for why, because she's set to become the first black woman to represent the Great Britain in an Olympic swimming event.
Fantastic.
And she's also set to become only the third black team GB swimmer, which raised my eyebrows, mate.
Fantastic for her. And in a way, again, it's sad that we're having to make such a big thing about it, isn't it? It's like, if you live in the country and you're part of Great Britain and you're good enough, it shouldn't make one iota of difference.
Exactly, mate. And the funny sport to finish off with, World Wife Carrying Championships. A Lithuanian couple has won it for the second time in a row. They triumphed in a contest where men compete in an obstacle course with their wives slung over their shoulders. The designated wife has to be at least 17-year-old, weigh a minimum of 49 kilograms. If she's lighter, she then must be weighted with a rucksack. I mean, it's a 277-yard obstacle course featuring a water obstacle. But however, the bonus is, mate, the first prize. What do you reckon the first prize would be of a wife carrying competition? Well,
to be honest with you, when you started talking about that, I'm Googling crane companies for starters. And I'll tell you what it is, to drag her away from the kitchen sink and the ironing and get her going, I'll tell you, it's going to be worth 100 grand for me. Sorry, darling.
First prize, consistent, is the wife's weight in beer.
So, yes, Craig, have you had to open your own pub?
Remember, there was a sport that I want to see in the Olympics. It's that, mate. It's got to be in.
She'll absolutely smash my head in if she hears this, I tell you.
and just to show how good the competition is, the history of it, the way it started was apparently the early practice of wife stealing. So you saw a wife, you slung her on your hook, and you're away down the road. What more PC can you be these days? And now we return to the second part of our interview with Jason Parkinson.
And I think the other thing that's quite fitting to mention at the moment is how do you promote the bowls? That's another thing that I spoke about, I think, in one of your last podcasts, is we're very good at organising things, but we're not very good at getting it out to the press. And, and streaming is fantastic, and I've seen, like yourself and Richie have started your streaming stuff. And
I was going to say, Jason, I mean, you've said that there's 16 top-class pairs turning up for the finals weekend, but technically, I mean, there's 17 top-class pairs. Let's get this right, Jason.
Well, exactly. With 16 top-class players, so players on the green, and then obviously we have this new duo, the new Anton Deck of the Northeast, that, have kindly said they'll come and live stream the Manchester Open, for me on the day, the 31st of July. All I can say is I just hope you provide subtitles, because no one will tell what you're saying.
I hope it doesn't rain, otherwise we'll be stupid.
It is Manchester.
Between runner.
Broadcasting live from the Marriott Worsley.
Would be, yeah.
Other hotels are available. No, but I just want to thank you for that. Showing an interest and agreeing to do that. Something in its first year. I just can't thank you enough. I think it's amazing. Thanks.
Yeah, but we talked about it, Jason, and obviously I spoke to Richie, and it's these type of things, these new style events where there's music on, and I just think we've got to get that out, and that is a big part of promoting the game. And if we can help towards doing that, as we said in our own county, there's an audience there. And I haven't spoken to Richie recently about the viewing figures of the live streams that we've done, but I think we topped over 1,000 views, didn't we, on the first
for the
one
first one, yeah.
And if you're getting that type of views from people out there, then it's just providing a service for people to actually watch some balls who enjoy doing it. We have a bit, they drop a few messages on, which is nice. And yeah, I hope it all goes swimmingly on the day. And we've checked the sort of network offering for what we use, so hopefully that'll all work well, because that's the only sort of teething problem we've had, with a little bit of a dead spot on their Wi-Fi that we talked about. But no, I think it'll be great. And the fact that you've got so many good pairs competing in that as well can only be a good thing, because, people's got the opportunity to watch some top-class players.
And we do have a professional commentator now available, Davey, don't we?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, he can call the shots, because I can't.
And who's this man?
Who's this man? This is him who's doing more interviews than Paxman.
That's what I tell you. And I mean, what you said earlier on, Jason, it's outdoor balls, and the greens aren't. It was a little bit tough today, but the pace was decent, and as we always say, it's the same for both. Yes, it can be a little bit of a leveler. I've got to say, I'm being kind here, because I'm trying to justify why we lost the last game. But
yeah, why you keep going on? Let me just have another little sip of my apple juice while you're just going on about that. Just remember, I was 2 rinks away. I did see what happened. There was definitely a dead spot.
Let's just say we were fantastically abysmal.
I could have kicked deck chairs nearer.
You're right. Yeah, we took abysmal to a new level in that last game, we've got to say. But,
at least the local taxi drivers turned up offering you to do a kebab run.
I was saying to Graham Vipond, I think, after the game, I says the worrying part about it was they were standing right behind our ring. They'd been there for about 20 minutes, and we heard them saying, still can't even work out what this game's all about. So I think we'll have quite happily sent them away today, knowing that the whole point of the game is to be as far away from that little yellow thing as possible.
No comment. No comment at all.
Just give us a quick roll call of who's going to be appearing in the finals weekend.
Right, quick roll call. Here we go. My goodness. So representing Scotland, playing in whatever colour I give them, because that was a big thing this weekend with the colours. Giving City fans red stickers. Oh, dear. So you got McFarlane and Marshall from Scotland, 8 points plus 22. Brown and Blair, 7 points plus 6. Paul Kane Jr. and Prunty, 9.5 plus 20. They played very well, actually. Very interesting pair. A young pair from Scotland, Gowan and Marshall, 9.5 points. Really good. Holland and Lowther, 11.5 points, almost maximum. McNally and Ross, 8 plus 23. And Chris Carswell. Now, he was very cheeky. He brought a ringer in last minute. Tells me he's bringing a substitute. I picked them up from the train station. Brings G-Mac down. I thought, yeah, goodness, that's costing a few, Bob, I'll tell you. 11 plus 19. And then obviously you've got your England 5 pairs. Lewis and Andrew Baxter, obviously a fantastic pair. Andrew Baxter, ex-England international for many years. Chris Gale, ex-England international. Carrie and myself. Stuart Airy, well, been around the game, been there, done it, in the T-shirt at all levels. With Ian Gallagher, fantastic pair. Scored 12 points, maximum 12 points. Mark Courtney from Bowles' Bowls. And his partner, Mr. Tyres, from Dav, very interesting, the Southerners. And Robert Sterling, he's a Scottishman, but he plays for Lancashire now with Anthony Booth Young, fantastic junior player, 11 plus 11. Then we go to the wild cards. Very interesting on the wild card. So didn't win their groups. Trevor Taylor, Graham Vipon, 9 points. Daniel Seaborn, we play with his partner Wells, junior players from Norfolk. They came on the tractor, believe it or not, took 12 hours. And McKinnon and Montgomery from Scotland, 8.5 points. And the daddy from the World Bowls Tour this year, Potters, Stuart Irwin, and Mr. Crichton, 8 plus 22. Very, very interesting pairs. Pick maybe Chris Gale and some numpty called Parkinson.
I'll let you have them two numpties, and I'm gonna stick my neck out, and I'm gonna go for my old muckers, Mr. Airy and Mr. Gallagher. Any thoughts, Mr. McKay?
I'll go for the Baxters. Make some lovely soup.
Well, I'm going to spoil that because last time I had them drunk by 11:30 and singing Penny Arcade on the karaoke.
That does not shock me in any shape or form.
Yeah, it was in every note bar the right one. Let's put it that way.
Just quickly dropping back on that, Jason. I love to hear the fact that you're going out there and promoting this on social media as an open draw. You are being completely straight down the line. Nobody can come back to you and say you fixed the draw. Nobody can say this, that, or the other. It's there. People can watch it, and it creates a little bit of excitement before the tournament as well. So I'm over the moon that you're doing that as well.
Yeah, I think everything does need to be transparent, because even if you do it behind closed door and it's all 100% legit, which most, 95% of competitions worldwide in various sports are. If especially when you're playing in the event as well, if you happen to get a really, really easy draw, you're just leaving yourself wide open to that criticism. And you just think, well, there's just no point when, like you say, you can do it live, takes 10 minutes and it's done. People see it happen, and that's just the way I like to be honest with you. Because if you're gonna win an event, you need to be good enough to beat anybody anyway.
Spot on, Jason. Well, obviously we will be there ourselves, but if it's run the way it was run today, which I'm very sure it will be a very successful weekend, and it'll be nice for people to watch competitive bowls for a little bit of lolly at the end of it. And I'm sure whoever walks away and wins it, obviously it's going to be Gally and Airy now, because I've already nominated them, but they'll walk away with the 500 quid each, which will be very nice.
Oh, really? Well, yeah, I might put rank 1 and 6 back in the draw then.
Great stuff, Jason. Well, wish you all the best. And I know we talked today. I'm sure we're going to have you on the show later on again in the season to talk about a few more things. So we'll leave that until then. But as always, thanks so much for coming on.
No, you're very welcome. Thanks very much to you, and keep up the good work, guys.
Yeah, you too, mate. Well done for you as well on organising a great competition.
Cool. Take care anyway.
Have a good night, mate.
Yeah, cheers.
Take care, mate. And it's competition time. Thanks as always to our current sponsors, Bowls as Bowls and Lean to Succeed. So, competition for this week, we've had our old friend of the show, Mr. Parkinson, on, and we've been discussing the Manchester Open. Question for the competition is, what is the name of the club that is currently hosting the Manchester Open? And Jason did mention it a couple of times during his chat. Any answers, please send us either an email to wrong.bias@hotmail.com. You can drop us a message, or you can just drop us a comment on the post when we promote the podcast. Best of luck to everybody. As always, thanks for participating. We've had some great winners in the past, and we've given away a lot of great prizes as well, and we will continue to do so.
Right, mate. We mentioned it at the start about the new championship formats. So we're going to give our point of view from a playing point of view and a spectator point of view, because with us doing the live streaming, we've seen a noticeable difference watching pairs game and a triples game and a fours game. Obviously, the singles haven't changed. The two ball hasn't changed. It hasn't got to one ball yet, so we're all right there. Pairs 18 ends, 3 balls. I know we've both played a game like it, and apart from the obvious thing, the fourth ball missing, from a spectator point of view, it was a quicker watch, mate. I thought it was a better watch as well. From a player's point of view, I just kept missing my fourth ball. Like you say, you've got to change your tactics, I think.
I don't know about yourself, Richard, but do you not think it brings in the draw aspect of the game more?
Well, I think the changes, I mean, we're going to touch on the triples as well. I think that the changes have brought the draw more to the fore than the fire. I think that it is a very draw and orientated game, because you feel as if, I don't know what it is with just having that extra ball, whether you sort of, you lash at something with your third one, knowing that you've got your fourth ball to come back to, but now you're trying to draw with your first ball. You didn't draw it, you draw with your second ball. You're not going to lash at it with your third ball, are you? Yeah.
This is always been my argument with the triples, and which is why I've never been a huge fan of 3-ball triples, because in the nicest possible way gives an opposition player 2 chances to smash ahead and open a head up, rather than now, it's like you've got to pick and choose your shots. The heads aren't as compact as they used to be. You know, there's only 12 balls in there now instead of 18, so you've got a lot more space. It is controversial, and there is people out there who don't like it. I personally got to say I'm in favour, and it'll take a bit of time to get used to. Be interesting further down the line. Do they bring in respots?
Well, yes. I mean, I would enjoy respots. I think it would speed the game up no end whatsoever. I think it's another tactical side of it.
I'm very surprised that hasn't been brought in for what it is for an out. It's a lot easier indoors because you can have those markings permanently. But for the simple case of having what I think is you could make a simple tool that you literally put at the edge of the green, two points go to where the 2 spots are, or even go to the tee, whatever it is. I'm surprised that hasn't been brought in a lot earlier, because as my argument has always been, from a spectator's point of view, nothing worse than watching a whole end, last ball kills an end, and you get nothing for it. Starts again, and I don't want the fire and shot to go out of the game, because I think it's a really technical part. I think it's an exciting part of the game, but I think there needs to be an added dimension so that people think, got to cover that, or got to make sure we cover that. And again, why I think these things, and I've just had this conversation today while we were playing the competition, and the age-old story of going back into the 80s and that, where we were going out to the edge of the rinks. So not only did I say, what I've said before is, in a lot of respects, it's not the manufacturer's fault, but because of the manufacturer's balls that we all play with now, you're only channeling 4 foot across the middle of the green, which leaves you 2 foot, 2.5 foot, 3 foot either side, which barely gets used. Doesn't matter whether you cross over and play opposite directions, a lot of it doesn't get used. And we were sort of talking about, for me, the spots will make people actually play those higher lines a lot more, to actually try and cover them. So I think it'll actually benefit the greens as well, because regardless of whether you're playing with a tight ball, you're going to have to get out onto those higher lines and actually play on them and run them in. So I would love to see that brought in as well. I think it's something that's really, really needed. And again, I'll probably get shot down in flames. There'll be people out there saying, no, I disagree, but that's just my opinion.
It's all opinions, man. I mean, you've touched on the triples a bit earlier on, 18 ends, 2 balls. Like you say, I played it and it flew over. Got turned over, but like you say, you sort of like, if you're 6 down with 4 to play and you were playing ordinary triples with 3 balls, you sort of think, well, I've still got a sniff. 6 down with 4 ends to play, playing 2 woods apiece, you sort of like, you're chasing the game, aren't you?
It's certainly restricting in that way, because you would try and potentially build something in and around the head with those extra balls to then create that shot with your last ball or 2 balls. But now it's like, that's one thing that you sort of have lost a little bit. So, which is why we talk about how I think it's introduced more of the draw game. So I think with this new format, the better drawn team on the day will win 90% of the time, would be my thoughts.
Some of the heads that I played with in the triples, you sort of like, it was compass balling, mate. It was sort of like few and far between. The heads were getting wide, shall I say.
Definitely, yeah. Definitely.
And the other one to touch on is the 4s. Now, that's gone down to 15 ends. It played it in the double. I didn't realise that the double 4s had actually gone down to 15 ends as well. And after the game, when you get about the 14th end, you feel as if you've missed the main course. You see it like, so you've had your start, you've had a bit, then you're on the end of the game. There's just something missing in the middle of it. I know it sounds stupid, because indoors, obviously, you play 16 ends, 2 hours, but there was just something missing, mate. 15 ends just didn't feel right at all. It felt as if I'm on the green, shake hands and come off.
I'm also in the frame of mind of thinking that, would it be better in the 4s to maybe play 18 ends, but then
I would go with the 18,
See, for me, I'd scrap trial ends. I would scrap trial ends.
Without a doubt, yeah. And
I would rather play 18 ends in a 4s and have no trial ends. I don't care whether I'm playing on my own green or whether I'm playing away green. I always say these things will balance themselves out over the course of 4 or 5 years. You will get the home ties, you'll get the away ties. And yet, me personally, I don't. Outdoors, I don't necessarily think it's that much of an advantage neither, because the greens were pristine and they were playing tremendous. And I would say fair enough. But I've always said, you watch most games in trial end, everybody relaxes, everybody's having a bit crack during the trial ends, and you're stroking the balls in and front toucher, getting within. And then you start the game and you're 5 foot away, you're 6 foot away, you're 4 foot away, and you go, what was the point? What was the point of having them trying? Because I've learned nothing.
And I can't be putting up with one shot the first two ends. That, I'm afraid, just boils me. You might as well have trial ends. You know what I mean?
No,
it just boils. You lie in 6-1.
I'll back you up completely on that one. That is a complete and utter waste.
I hate that rule. And I'll tell you what, while I'm on my IOS, another thing that's really got me going at the minute is and it's not Bowls England rule, this is the World Bowls, the laws introduced about offering 2 rings. The home player offers 2 rings to the visiting player or gives them the option of 2 rings. Now, I've seen people offering a visiting player, do you want to go on rings 3 and 4? Well, if that visiting player's been at your place and he loves ring 4, he's not going to pick ring 3, is he?
They've got to toss a coin. You've got to throw it though, haven't they?
Well,
so I thought you had to basically put 2 rings in and then toss a coin for which one.
That's what I do. But I've heard people offering the visiting player, right, 1 and 5, which one do you want?
No chance.
I've gone, that's not right. It doesn't work. Just scrap the rule. I hate it. If you're at home, you pick 9 times out of 10, a good bowler will take you on a good ring. He will. You'll get a poor bowler, might take a good bowler on a bad ring to level him off a bit, but people that go in county competitions will go on a decent ring. So why just let the home man pick the ring and get on with it?
We've done it. I mean, we've done it for years, haven't we? It's like you've always home and away, you pick the ring that you want to go on, and that's the whole point of home and away. And I don't know why that sort of changed.
I don't know why it got introduced. I mean, there was an uproar when it got introduced because it was very confused. I think people couldn't understand it, and by the sounds of it, people still can't understand it. Just get a coin out, toss it. But for me, I tell if I'm away, I just tell the lad, just put a ring out. Got to tack you on a pig of a ring.
Definitely, yeah.
Well, you would hope not anyway.
I mean, the only thing that sticks out for me is if you've been nominated a green to play all fixtures in a particular round, then I can understand that. But if it's the early rounds and it's just basically a home and or away draw, your home person picks the ring.
We go though. We go. And by the way, our opinions on the new championship format was no criticism of Bowls England whatsoever. None whatsoever, because we think what they've done is great.
Yeah. No, like I say, things have got to change, and it's like everything. Whenever there's changes in this sport, there's always a bit of an uproar and there's always a bit of a gripe initially, and then it all just filters away and people get on with. And then the talk in 5 years' time, and they go, "Hey, can you remember when we used to play that 18-20?
I know.
Can you remember when you used to play 31 up in the singles? I mean, people, you know what I mean? Fancy having to play 31 up now, rushing in from work, getting in and potentially playing what? You could play 61 ends, couldn't you?
Now, can you remember we used to play 21 ends in 2 hours, 21 ends in daylight and on night? No, you can't get 15 in daylight.
Definitely.
I blame the government. Brexit.
I'll have a bit of a whinge in 10 years' time if you're turning up and only playing 5 ends or something. That's when we can start to whinge. But I still think, the way it's currently set up, yes, that little change in the 4s might need to be looked at, because it is very, very cutthroat and very quick. But apart from that, I would just say that I think the length of the games and the content of the game, so to speak, is more than adequate, I think.
Yeah, and from a spectator's point of view, it's a thumbs up from the spectators.
Yeah, absolutely.
Sure. Right, there we go, mate. Show number 32. Seeing as you never asked us at the start, you never pulled us up at the start, our wedding anniversary is transportation, which is quite apt considering you've been around the world today, mate.
Transportation? Is that a real thing for an anniversary?
It is transportation, yeah. Not kidding you. I'm looking at it. Transportation, what's that like?
The sooner we get there, the better then, because all I'll do for that present for when we get there is I'll just get her a one-way ticket to Hawaii or something like that. Not packing.
Set of roller skates, set of blades.
32 years will be more than enough, I'll tell you.
Anyway, a quick thank you to Alex Marshall for his support, mate, because obviously, I don't know whether people are aware, but he's no longer part of the Aero team.
Franchise within the UK, yeah. So obviously what was Alex Marshall Sports is no longer, and I do believe it's UK Aero Distributors now. But because of obviously that change, has obviously stepped away, but I think it would certainly be remiss of us not to thank him for all the support he's given us since day one, hasn't it been? Yeah, he he was so keen. And one thing I'll say about Alex is he's massively supportive on new initiatives and new things to promote the sport. And as soon as we talked about the podcast that we were going to do, thankfully for us, he got behind us and really, you know, he's provided us some great prizes. So thanks so much to Alex for that.
Yeah, many thanks to him. And to finish off with a little shaggy dog tale, mate, isn't it? Because
exactly what you're going to say.
Yeah. Well, for those people who aren't aware, Davey plays for a different club to me, and we went head to head about a couple of weeks ago in a league game. And
I called it before the draw even come out, didn't I?
You did, mate. You did. We always get each other. And you always give. I lost a 31-shot thriller, folks. What was the score? 22-9.
When you said 31, I couldn't remember getting a shot. I was thinking it was 31.
he was butchered us. Anyway, on the night we just started, and I got behind this little Alsatian. This young Alsatian running around the outside of the green. I've got, I can see what's coming. Well, Silksworth's got like an iron fence around it and the gate that they get in. I'm going, I'll try and shut the gate before the dog comes in. Couldn't get the gate shut because they were standing in the way. Sure enough, this young Alsatian whoosh onto our ring, sniffing the balls, chasing the balls and what have you. And then the owner, this is poor lassie, comes running up, mortified that the dog's on the green, trying to get it. She gets onto the green, gets a hold of the dog. And then all of a sudden, things went wrong. Now,
Vesuvius.
Now if you're busy eating anything at the minute, like a curry or anything, a spark ball, maybe he's put it down, because what happened next was tragic. The dog took the squat position. We were all mortified. And all of a sudden, it dropped a load.
It wasn't just a couple of logs there wasn't.
It wasn't. And we think the dog might have had a curry the night before, because it came out in drips and drabs on the hand of one of our hands.
Rancid.
He was gagging.
I haven't got a good threshold to start with. Once that wind blew in my direction, I nearly
we couldn't do nothing for laughing. The poor lass couldn't. She was beset by herself.
Mortified, wasn't you? I'm so sorry.
Then she went to get a carrier bag. I said, "You need a hose, not a carrier bag." She come out with a carrier bag. She's screaming it off the green.
Thankfully for us, it was just on the edge of the ring, wasn't it? So I did try to get Mr. Farquhar to play a high draw to cover a shot that wasn't existing, because I was desperate for him to go and strike through.
It was funny, I'll tell you. It was horrendous. And then one of you lads got a bucket of water, tried to wash it away, and he went to get a mop. I'm like, what's he doing with the mop?
Hey, that's our ex-secretary you're talking about.
I'll tell you what, the tears are rolling down the back of my neck. I was crying, I was. But anyway, I hope you haven't put people off the food.
The things that happen in a game of balls.
I'd like to see Sue Park introduce that. Well, Phil Tufnell, what happens next here? Does the dog draw the shot down the forehand?
The biggest regret for us was we weren't live streaming it at the time.
I was sticking for my phone. I said, "That's my phone. Get 250 quid on you've been framed." But never mind, mate. We'll be back again. I think we're going to do it monthly. So we hope you enjoy the show. Keep safe, everybody. We'll catch up soon.
Take care, everyone. Thank you for listening and hope you've enjoyed the show.
This has been a Dodgy production.